Yo, what is going on, everybody? Hope you're all well. So there's been some interesting things transpire over the last few days, and they've been brewing for a while, but this is just, I guess, an expansion of what's been going on. By the way, I just want to give a quick shout out to my boy AV, Alpha Villains. I'm the space she needed. Shout out to you, sir. If anyone wants to get a hand on any of the amazing designs that Alpha Villains has, head on down to the description. I have a code so you can get 15% off if you want to take advantage of that. If you don't, that's totally cool too, and I hope you enjoy this video. So today I'm going to be talking about Spotify activist employees, more specifically trans activist employees, to be clear. And for those of you who've been living under a rock, Joe Rogan signed a $100 million deal with Spotify. And it's basically a licensing deal where they can have his content on Spotify, but there's no censorship, there's no editorial decisions made by Spotify. It's like Joe Rogan makes the content, Spotify hosts it. That's it. That's the deal. But unfortunately, it seems to be that there are a growing cohort of purple-haired individuals, green-haired individuals, blue-haired individuals, no-hair individuals, not me, obviously, but other no-hair individuals that have a social justice mindset. And they work for Spotify. So what we've got now is we've actually got, let me just expand this a little bit for you. Oh, no, maybe that was better before. That'll do. Here we go. Cancel culture. SJWs at Spotify demand censorship of network's newest star, Joe Rogan. Oh dear, this could be a problem for them. So let's quickly get in. In fact, I'm going to bring up the Vice article first because in the beginning, when I found this, I actually came across it via a Vice article, and the headline of this Vice article was so much more inflammatory than what you just saw. What you just saw was basically complete fact. But here's the Vice article. Spotify CEO defends keeping transphobic Joe Rogan podcasts online. Now, basically what has happened here is that the Spotify CEO, Daniel Ek, I think it's Daniel Ek, I'm going to call him, hope that's correct, discussed the company's handling of the controversial podcaster. In a Spotify all-hands company meeting on Wednesday, Spotify CEO Daniel Ek defended keeping, quote unquote, because I don't think it actually is transphobic, because transphobia means you're scared of people who are trans. And Joe Rogan's not scared of them. He's just got different opinions to them. So that's the context in which transphobia actually means. So transphobic content from a hugely popular podcaster, Joe Rogan, on the audio platform, who earlier this year signed an exclusive licensing deal with the company likely worth tens of millions of dollars. Well, I mean, from my understanding, it was 100 million. Someone correct me if I'm wrong here. And if that is the case, and they do breach Joe Rogan's agreement with them, and they breach their contract, well, that could cause some seriously big problems for Spotify. $100 million worth of problems for Spotify, as it so happens. And you got to remember, they are a public company, so they have got stakeholders, they've got shareholders, they have got people that they are accountable to from a financial perspective. So unfortunately, feelings doesn't pay share dividends. Someone needs to tell these SJWs that. But let me continue. It says some staff inside the company feel alienated by Spotify's hosting of certain the JRE episodes, according to copies of some of the questions presented to the meeting obtained by Motherboard. The news signals how Spotify, as it moves into the podcasting space beyond music, is facing content moderation decisions more commonly associated with social media platforms like Facebook or Twitter. Well, I got news for you guys. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, all of the big tech, all are employing SJWs, freshly indoctrinated out of the public indoctrination camps. And, you know, these people are just running rampant. They're trying to control everything. They've got an agenda. They're indoctrinated. They know what they want to do, and they will do anything that they can to try and have that happen, which is why Trump's going to win 2020 election, by the way. That's just my take. I'm going to put a bet on that with I'm actually placing a bet on Trump winning, and I'm going to double my money. So just letting you know that that's how I'm playing my game. Yes. So Spotify has already, here's the thing. Spotify has already removed JRE episodes with some quote unquote right-wing figures, including Alex Jones and Gavin McInnes. So already there's a political bias against Joe Rogan, and anyone that has a voice that they disagree with, they're trying to completely censor or deplatform or remove, which is exactly the case with Gavin McInnes and Alex Jones, these podcasts. It says, in the case of Joe Rogan, a total of 10 meetings, 10 different meetings, wasting the CEO's time, have been held with various groups and individuals to hear their respective concerns. And some of them want Rogan removed because of things he's said in the past. Yes, you heard that right. They want Joe Rogan completely removed from Spotify because of things he's said in the past. Sound familiar? This is full-blown, big tech sponsored cancel culture. But the CEO has got gigantic testicles, metaphorically speaking, potentially in actual real life as well. However, definitely metaphorically. Now, I'm just going to close off those tabs because I don't want those making noise in the background. That was annoying. Apologies, or should I say. Here we go. Now, they've also provided this. Do you work at Spotify? We'd love to hear from you. Using a non-work phone or computer, you can contact Joseph Fox securely on Signal at this number, Wicker on Joseph Cox, OTR chat. Here's the number, guys. And I'm going to be putting the link to this article in the description. If you want to troll Joseph Cox and give him, I mean, everything's fake news these days anyway, so you may as well troll the reporters. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. It's not the right thing to do. 3 sources provided Motherboard with some of the questions submitted to the town hall meeting. Motherboard granted them anonymity as they weren't authorized to speak to the press about internal Spotify issues. 2 of the questions submitted for the Q&A section of the meeting highlight some of the Spotify employees' concerns around Joe Rogan's content. Here it is. One of the submitted questions was, and I quote, many LGBTQAI plus /ally Spotifyers feel unwelcome and alienated because of leadership's response in JRE conversations. What is your message to these employees? End quote. Another was, open quote, why has Spotify chosen to ignore Spectrum ERG's guidance about transphobic content in the JRE catalog? End quote, referring to a group of Spotify workers who focus on related issues. Wait, so these Spotify workers are focusing specifically on trans issues? What are they actually doing at Spotify if that's their focus? That's my question. And why are Spotify employing people to specifically focus on where people want to put their dick or what they want to come in contact with their vagina? That's my question. That's a question I think needs to be answered. It's a concerning one. Others have concerns specifically over a recent episode, EK said, and Joe Rogan and the episode in question have been reviewed extensively. The fact we aren't changing our position doesn't mean we aren't listening. It just means we made a different judgment call. And I think it was a very good judgment call on X part. The specific episode of the Joe Rogan Experience Eck was referring to was from July, in which Rogan interviewed Abigail Schreier, author of the book Irreversible Damage: The Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters, according to one of the sources. From the opening moments of that podcast, Schreier associates transgender youth with those with autism. Schreier and Rogan spend parts of the episode explaining that young people are being pressured into transitioning by YouTube and other media. Tell me which part of that's wrong. That's 100% correct. That's what's happening. You realize that people are not looking at this objectively, Rogan said in the podcast. They are activists and they have this agenda. And the agenda is very ideologically driven that anyone who even thinks that they might be trans, should be trans, are trans, and the more trans people, the better. Yeah, that's exactly what these activists and Spotify think. So they're just butthurt that Joe Rogan's calling them out for exactly what's going on and exactly what they're doing and exactly what they're trying to push. At Spotify, we're strongly committed to the LGBTQ plus community. Oh, he didn't say IA. That's transphobic. Anyway, look, there's a bit more about that from Vibe. It's sort of just going on a little bit. But I wanted to also touch on this other article, the one I originally brought up, because I think that was a really good one. And I'd really love to share this with you guys because I think this is a really great take. And obviously, I've covered some stuff already from the Vice article. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to take snippets out of this article that are most relevant. So yeah, here we go. So Rogan's long-form interviews with interesting guests were drawing hundreds of millions of views on YouTube, making his show a valuable commodity. And that's why the digital media company Spotify recently paid $100 million to bring the Rogan podcast into its fold. That's what I was saying. It's $100 million. I was correct. So they were trying to downplay it in the Vice article by the sounds of it to make it sound like it was less valuable than it really was. Of course they would. Rogan's show's been on Spotify for less than a month, and employees are demanding editorial control over his content and even censorship. The moment you give these crazies an inch, they will take a mile. You give them just give them a snippet of editorial control, and they will remake your entire catalog. They will rip out every single word that they don't agree with. They will take down every single episode that hurts their fifi even slightly. Right? This is the aim. Because if the CEO of Spotify capitulates and caves and allows these social justice warriors, these purple-haired rhinoceri, these green-haired people, these blue-haired people, these buzz-cut people, and no offense to anyone with a buzz cut because it feels amazing, but if you've gotten a buzz cut simply because you're trying to buck gender stereotypes, then you're exactly the type of person that I'm talking about. Johnny Vegas, thank you for your super chat, says, Sid, are you growing the beard out or keeping it short? Coming from America, man, I don't know. If this gets a bit too itchy, I'm going to probably trim it down a bit. But, I'm always shaving it and regrowing and shaving it and regrowing it. So I can't say for sure. It's just going to depend on when I get to the point that I can't deal with it anymore. But it looks pretty good for now. I'll clean it up this afternoon before I go to work. UFC color commentator and podcasting deity. Here we go. Spotify employees were demanding direct editorial oversight. That would include the ability to directly edit or remove sections of upcoming interviews or block the uploading of episodes deemed problematic. Did you hear that? Big tech employees are pushing to be able to directly edit and remove sections of upcoming content before it's even seen by the public. And they want the ability to completely block the uploading of episodes that they don't like, that hurts their feelings, that goes against, what they want, because this is all about want. It's all about feelings. This is a very, very feminine thing. And look, and women need to be able to feel, right? And if you've got high levels of estrogen in your blood, then you're going to be more of a feeler than a logical, structured thinker. And that's because what estrogen does, it actually changes your neurology to be wired in that way. And women actually need that for childbearing purposes. That's actually why that happens. This is evolution at play. And whereas men, the higher their testosterone levels, the less emotional they'll tend to be, but the more logical they will be. And again, that is a requirement, because if they get emotional while they are out, hunting for food, and look, I know we don't go out hunting for food typically these days. Some people do, but most people don't hunt for food these days. They buy it at the supermarket. They go to the butcher where someone else has been paid to do it. So, you need testosterone. And testosterone, actually, high level of testosterone wire the brain in such a way that emotional stress tolerance levels is much, much higher than it would be if you had higher estrogen levels. And this is not a criticism of people with high estrogen levels. It's not a criticism of people with high testosterone levels. It's not a criticism of women. It's not a criticism of men. I'm just saying that this is actually why these things happen. And this explains a lot of what goes on in the world. And, why sometimes you see people that have higher testosterone levels that tend to, live more in an emotional space rather than a logical space. We need a balance. Unfortunately, I'm seeing a lot of too much in the emotional space. And I think we need to really wind that back a little bit so we can have more of an equilibrium. But anyway, so they want to be able to block uploading of episodes that they don't like, basically, or that they deem problematic. The employees also demanded the ability to add trigger warnings, corrections, and references to fact-checked articles on topics discussed by Rogan in the course of his multi-hour discussions. Now, does this not sound to you like what's happening on university campuses right now? Well, it would sound like what's happening on university campuses because that's what is happening on university campuses. That's why we have this problem. That's why we have this problem. The funny thing is about that Joe Rogan is, so Rogan's politics are significantly left of center. So he's more left wing than right wing. But he's still not left wing enough for them. He's not a radical leftist, so they don't like it. Because, you know, unless you're a radical leftist, your opinion is not something that they want because they want you to push their agenda for them by way of controlling your speech. Bobby Burak of Outkick points to a moment when Rogan became a target of the mob. Last week, Rogan's podcast caught fire when he claimed left-wing people were arrested for lighting forest fires in Portland. Rogan then retracted. I need to make an apology, he said on social media. I said something on the podcast with Douglas Murray about people getting arrested for lighting fires, and I got duped. It's wrong. Rogan's $100 million deal with Spotify is off to a bad start. In addition to this nonsense, multiple popular JRE episodes were left off Spotify's migration. Well, gee, I wonder the people who would have been behind not migrating those episodes across properly. Probably the same freaking people that are arguing over transphobia that doesn't exist and threatening to walk out on strike. See, they think they're irreplaceable. They think that Spotify needs them. Drain the swamp, I say. The funny thing is about this is that Joe Rogan was not wrong. There have been documented cases of leftists starting fires which led to wildfires outside of Portland. So he was actually on the money. The progressive mob just wants control. That's exactly what they want. That's exactly what they want. They want power, they want money, and they want control. And they think that old white men have it, and the only way to get it is to take it off the old white men by whatever force necessary. But they don't realize how free they actually are. This is what happens when you concede to the left. Absolutely it is. Absolutely. Having been repeatedly appeased by weak college administrators, the woke mob, yeah, there we go. I was saying it's starting in universities and it's coming up. The woke mob now just expects their demands to be met. It is the same reason they seem to lose their minds when somebody finally says no and fails to give them what they want. Guys, I've said to you from the beginning, the most important word in the English language is no. Just say no. Don't give them what they want. Don't capitulate. Don't let them control you. I don't know this person, but he makes an excellent point. And this person's name is Shant Mesrobian, I think is the correct pronunciation. Do apologize to Shant if that is incorrect. Strike. Notice how the woke professional class appropriates the language and facade of labor and working class politics, even though it has absolutely nothing to do with securing a better livelihood for themselves or anyone else, for that matter. Now, the report added that there are preliminary plans for a work strike that would principally involve New York-based Spotify employees and would be accompanied by protests outside Spotify Manhattan's headquarters. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. And I can't wait to see how this pans out. Other aspects would involve media appearances and coordination with other activist organizations, the report said. Of course, they're going to coordinate with other activist organizations. They're fucking Marxists. And I'm pretty sure that that's going to be against their code of conduct as well, just FYI. The music outlet noted that the strike could be and I quote, could be risky for the staffers involved. Yeah, it could be very risky because they could lose their jobs, which is probably what's going to happen, just FYI. Spotify employees reportedly enjoy comfortable salaries in the, mind you, this is in US dollars, in the $120,000 to $130,000 annual range. I'm just going to do a quick conversion for my Aussie listeners. Convert pad here. Let's update this exchange rate, shall we? And we are looking at US dollars, 100 and let's call it 125,000, smack bang in the middle. So we're talking 175,000 Australian dollars. Oh, man, what I wouldn't do for that kind of cash. Spotify employees reportedly enjoy comfortable salaries in that range with considerable perks and benefits. Wow. For people that are earning that kind of money, they've got some fucking hide coming out and saying how oppressed they are. Jeez. But these are plum jobs in extremely uncertain economic times, making a strike a risky move. According to PayScale, Spotify pays its employees an average of $110,000 a year. Glassdoor lists many salaries at Spotify well over $100,000. Anyone want to place a bet on this ending in an expensive lawsuit? I have a feeling my camera is going to get knocked over in a second because this cat won't fuck off. Get out now. There we are. Sorry about that, guys. Pet life, hey? Working from home. If Spotify breaches their contract with this ridiculousness, Joe Rogan is just going to sue them and take his podcast elsewhere. That's all. By Rosemary Dewa. That is 100% correct. It is going to. I love this look on his face. That is a great picture, actually. But yeah, look there, guys. I'm going to put the links to both these articles that I've shared in the description below. This one has got a really good take from Tim Pool on Timcast IRL, right down the bottom. So check that out as well. Anyway, guys, what do you think about this outcome? Please keep it respectful in the comments. Please share this video from people that are sick of the SJWs taking over everything, because I think this is going to be the start of a trend of SJWs overstepping the line and getting their asses kicked all the way from here to the end of the unemployment queue. That's what I would love to see happen, especially these people earning so much money saying, oh, I'm so oppressed, I'm so offended, I demand that you do this. No, fuck off. Fuck right off. Back to the back of the unemployment queue. Because if you're going to behave like this when you're earning that kind of cash, that's where you belong, you spoiled little fucks. Guys, what's your take on that? What do you think? Smash the thumbs up, share this video, leave a comment. I would love to get your take, and I will catch you guys on the next video. I appreciate you, but until next time, if you want to donate, head on over to PayPal, or I've got crypto links down below. Alternatively, you can just download Brave Browser at sydneymigtail.com/Brave and support the channel, or you can even head on over to Alpha Villains and grab yourself a tee or a hoodie. I know it's about to get cold, so they're pretty warm, and they got some pretty. Maybe this particular slogan is not your jam, but he's got some good logans over there. Shout out to UAV. I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next video, but until next time, peace.